All right, we are live on YouTube now, and I am going to find you all back on Zoom. Got it. All right, you all. I will share my screen with the agenda, and I think we'll be ready to start. Can y'all see it? I'm working on a.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. All right.
All right. Good evening. Welcome to Crawford Long Middle School's Go Team meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it has been emailed to you and publicly noticed. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the Go Team. Only members of the team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public present are here to quietly observe. For members of the Go Team, please identify yourself when you speak. I am pleased to call this meeting of the Crawford Long Go Team to order. Our first order of business is roll call. The secretary will now take roll. Murphy.
One moment. Principal Lisa Hill.
Present.
Natasha Hall.
Present.
Jameson Murphy, present. Paul Hobson.
Present.
Anna Deonise. Not present. Joanna Thomas. Not present. Lenicia Presley. Not present. Jasmine Binion. Not present. Jesse Webb.
Present.
And John Kimbrough. Okay. At this
This
next part.
team will only be able to take official action if a quorum is present. Mr. Murphy, is a quorum present?
Yes, a quorum is present.
Okay. Let's move on to our action.
Do we have a quorum present? How many
I
hours?
think a quorum is just 4
Five.
people. It's 3 out of 5, something like that.
It has to be. I think it doesn't have to be 5. Madam
And you
Chair?
don't count, do you?
No, I don't count.
1, 2, 3, 4. So no, a quorum is not present. But we're not voting on anything today, are we?
So what
No.
happened? The approval of the previous minutes will have to happen during your first Go Team meeting next school year.
Okay.
Okay.
So do I still go over the minutes?
You can still display them. We just can't officially vote on them and approve them, but you can still share.
Okay, so
Okay.
we do not have a quorum present. We needed a majority of the Go Team members in attendance to vote on the agenda items. Having a quorum protects the school by preventing a very small number of members from taking action on behalf of the entire school. We will proceed with today's discussion and information items. Action items will be tabled until the quorum is established. So I'm going to move down to our additional items.
All right, so I'll pull up the slide. So Murphy, with the statement that she just read, we don't even review them. You all will review them during your next. So that means you'll have to take action on the March 15th minutes, as well as the ones for today during your first Go Team meeting for next year.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we don't have a quorum. Yep.
All right.
Yeah,
Ms.
it's
Dillon,
3 out of 5.
She just got on.
Oh, she
Who?
did? Ms. Deonise just got on?
Yes, it says Anna Delaney. Also, we do have a quorum.
So
We
now
do
we do
have a
have a quorum. Okay.
Yes, because a quorum has to be 3 out of 5 members. No, it has to be 3 out of 5, but we only have 4 members.
So we do have a quorum. So now we can go to the minutes now.
All right.
Ms.
Okay.
Deonise, are you feeling okay? Are you able to share the minutes?
No, I'm pretty wretched. So if Mr. Murphy doesn't mind, I'd appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
I'll be
Thank you
going coughing fit. So
Okay, thank you for joining. Mr. Murphy has.
Ms.
All right,
Denise,
Murphy.
can you still take the notes though?
She said yes. She threw it.
Okay, cool. All right.
Our first
All right.
order of business is to approve the agenda. This was provided to you and copies are here. Are there any changes to the agenda? Ms. Hill is displaying it. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I second that motion.
No, I said a motion, not a second.
I move that we approve the agenda as read.
A
I second
second?
it. I
All
second.
in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So the secretary could record your vote. All opposed, say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. Thank you. With the agenda has been approved. We will review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you. Are there any corrections? We're gonna let Mr. Murphy run through the meeting minutes.
Okay, budget approval meeting. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, budget approval. This is from meeting date 3/15/23 at 5:30 p.m. That was streamed on the Tiger Go Team meeting YouTube link. Roll call was at 5:30. Present was Principal Lisa Hill, instructional staff, Natasha Hall, instructional staff, Jameson Murphy, Paul Hobson, Anna Dionise. Parent guardian, Joanna Thomas was absent. Parent guardian, Lenicia Presley was absent. Parent guardian, Jasmine Binion was absent. Community member, Jesse Webb was present. John Kimbrough was absent, community member. Action items, approval of agenda, motion passed. Approval of previous minutes, motion passes. Approval of budget and motion passes. Adjournment was at, oh, this is the meeting summary, my bad. I'm reading the wrong thing, my bad, here we go. Here it is, my bad. Approval of the agenda link. We had a motion made by Ms. Anna Dionise, second by Mr. Murphy. Members approved were 5. The motion passed. Approval of previous minutes link. Motion made by Hobson, second by Ms. Hall. Members approving was 5. Motion passed. Discussion items, budget approval, presentation link. Discussion item 1, presentation of final budget. All budget items were accepted. There were no changes. Go Team will review budget. The whole child is still the focus. The majority of the funds is still towards staffing. Number 1 bullet was Mr. Hopkins asked a question about the future funds that may be allocated to the school. Ms. Hill clarifies that these funds are determined by the district. Note 2, some discussion class size, some discussion of class sizes that are preferably preserved that way. One connection class dance has been abolished or eradicated, but abolished due to the loss of CARES funds. Connections will gain 2 instructors for math and ELA intervention. Ms. Hill shares that we are losing children and may need to knock on doors in August. Our school neighborhood is gentrifying. Budget approval motion was made by Mr. Webb, second by Mr. Hobson. Members approving were 5, motion passed. Information items, principal's report, the BASC 3 results. The results of the BASC indicates that our children are needing wraparound services. Ms. Hall asked about the results and if this is referring to the teacher's need for support. Spring ACES presentation. ACES presentation was shared in the previous meeting. Information item 2, update on the principal search. Ms. Hall and Ms. Murphy were downtown for the tier 2 level of this process. The school and community were asked to complete a survey that would help in the selection of the next principal. The 2 of them were asked to review the results of the survey and prepare for the tier 3 level with all Go Team members involved. Ms. Hall emphasized that the school community and staff voices are being heard. Excuse me. Announcements, public announcement. Ms. Howie speaks to the subject of Mrs. Hill's departure and how she will be missed. She urges the Go Team to stay on top of rezoning and how this impacts the school community. Next meeting will be held 5/17/23. Ms. Hill plans to take us to dinner. Laugh out loud. Got excited there. C, Mr. Murphy addresses Ms. Howie about the changes in our community and would like to work with her on council matters related to the housing. Adjournment, motion made by Mr. Murphy, seconded by Ms. Dionese. Members approving 5, motion passed. Meeting was adjourned at 6:35 p.m. Minutes taken by Ms. Dionese, position secretary. Date approved was on 3/15/23.
I do have one correction. Can you go back up? We just gotta make sure that language is clear for that first bullet about
About that
funding. right there.
eradication.
Yeah, make sure we say, was
Abolished.
abolished. Was abolished.
Yeah,
Due to loss of funding, because it was both from, CARES as well as the general budget.
Would you like me to do that as we speak right now?
doing it right
Murphy's
now.
doing it. He's doing it for you.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
he's on- yes, okay.
Also, there was another position that was abolished.
Yes, it was the school business manager position was abolished, so you can add that in there as well. But I think they put that in there because somebody was talking about class size, but you can add it as well in there, that additionally, the school business manager position was abolished. But it should have been on the previous minutes as well.
And then also, at the top, under, they had the list of the officers or the list of the members of the GO team. They had me under as instructional staff, and I believe I'm under the swing voter or swing seat.
That's just for the attendance purposes. That's just like your role in the school. Not
Okay.
necessarily the GO team. That's just
Okay.
your role in the school, not the GO team.
Ms.
Okay.
Hill, do I put the business manager position was abolished due to CARES and general funds as well?
It's just say, instead of say specifically, just say due to reduction in funding. You can take out CARES and general funds
For both of them?
for both
Okay.
of them, yeah.
All right, one school business due to reduction of funding. Okay, those changes have been made.
If there are no further corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes?
I move that the corrections be accepted as printed or read or
Can
discussed.
I have a second?
Jesse Webb, I second.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Um,
All opposed, say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. All right, thank you so much.
So I can stop sharing.
Yes. We are going to move on to our first action item, which is going to be, I had to pull it up, sorry. Our first action item is, this first discussion item will be the results from the 2023 spring map results, and then Ms. Hill will go into the needs assessments.
Okay, so actually the presentation that they have would actually take us through the remaining part of the agenda, believe it or not. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. So once again, this is a reminder of our agenda, which has already been approved. And here they have asked that we share our 2023 spring map results, which we took in March. We are awaiting all of our milestone scores. Everything is embargoed, so we cannot discuss any of the milestones that have come in. However, we are still waiting on our results to come in. What we're going to look at is just a quick snapshot of our spring results. Specifically looking at the literacy and numeracy. So, move you all over here. So this is a snapshot of our spring MAP results. As you can see, the 6th grade for math and reading, 7th grade math and reading, 8th grade math and reading. And so let's start with content areas. Let's start with reading first. As you can see here, 6th grade, and I want to start by remember that the goal is proficiency and higher. So this is roughly about 15% of our 6th graders. It's like 15.5, maybe round up to 16, show that they were proficient based off of standards for reading. As you can see, 27% were considered developing, and 57 were projected to be beginning learners. As a reminder, MAP is a predictor for milestones performance. For 7th grade reading, you see it's about right at 12, like 12.5, close to 13% were proficient. A large portion, as you can see, 37% were developing. And then for 7th grade, you had fewer students than 6th grade, was 50% who were beginning learners. And then when we see 8th grade, about 16% were proficient, 39% developing, and then 44%. So you can see as students matriculate through by grade level, we are seeing increases in performance. Still a lot of students who are in that bubble area of developing, and there's a huge need to move more students over to proficient. Now with mathematics, you can see that is a drastic difference between mathematics and with reading. So for math, 6th grade, only about 5% of the students were proficient. 31% were sitting in that bubble of developing, and then 64% are predicted to score beginning for 6th grade math. 7th grade math, I think that's roughly around the same amount. It's about 5%, 39% developing, 56% are beginning. And then 8th grade, it was just a little bit above, so probably about 7-8% are proficient or distinguished, 35% for developing, and then 58 were projected to be beginning learners. Just note that these are projections. We are analyzing data as it is coming in, however, everything is embargoed. You can see our heaviest lift is, everything is heavy, but however, specifically with mathematics. As a reminder, and you probably got a Go Team email, the math standards are changing next year for the state of Georgia as well. So still a lot of work to do. And then there's another shift in the entire state coming up for next year. Any questions about the MAP spring results?
I do want to make a statement about the math standards training changing. I talked to one of the men that works downtown. He said that they will be offering a couple of trainings this summer to go over it, and they are trying to get APS to take them to MathCon again this year. So towards the end of June, they will have a 2 to 3 day training that teachers will be paid for. And if a lot of people don't show up, they are aiming to have one at the beginning of the school year when we come back, because that was important for me to know, even though I don't teach math. I still want to make sure I have the information to give to
That
my
is so
colleagues.
true. Yes. And what that gentleman told you is true. We pushed because they were trying to, during the summer, so it's paid. But we raised it during the last principals meeting. We were like, well, what about the new people coming who weren't here or they weren't able to make it in June? Can you all? So they said during that pre-planning week, there will be some math trainings. However, the coaches, all the math coaches in the district are doing some work with the teachers, even next week. I know Ms. Bell is going to be working with teachers next week. I will also tell you all that the state they're releasing a lot of videos directly from the state. Some kind of like resources, videos to kind of learn and start experiencing the standards firsthand. So that information will be shared as well. Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Hall, for sharing that information. I'm glad we heard the same thing. Good job.
I have a question about when they change. Seems like these standards are always getting changed, and when they do that, isn't like it creating like a moving target to try to,
ELA is
achieve
changing as well. I think next year, ELA is gonna be changing.
when they change them, does it make it any easier for us to achieve the targets that we?
So some of them, they say they're not teaching as much, but they're going deeper. And they're also layering, but yeah, we have to look at them and just compare from one year to the next. They say rather than teaching so many topics, to try to go deeper as you progress in grade level. So they're trying to quote unquote streamline some of the standards. Yeah, great question, Ms. Deonese. All right, I'll go to the next slide. So now we have to talk about a needs assessment based off of what we have seen, what we just saw. And so you'll know we really won't be able to complete this needs assessment until Milestones is no longer embargoed and shared with you. But I will tell you, off of previous years of math, it's almost identical to what we see performance on Milestones. It's almost like really, really close. So it's a great predictor. It's not the exact, you won't be exact numbers, but it's in the ballpark. So during this needs assessment, which is on the next slide, we will look at the data that we just discussed and identify 2 to 3 potential needs for the 23-24 school year. This discussion will help the school leadership team as they begin developing the school's 23-24 continuous improvement plan this summer. So Mrs. McCoo and the leadership team will be going to leadership summer retreat. I think it's the second week in June. And they will need this information from the needs assessment, and they will also have data that's being populated by the district office to actually create a real needs-based continuous improvement plan. So let's, needs assessment questions. Keep these questions in mind. What does this data tell us? What good news is there to celebrate? Where are growth opportunities? What trends do you see in the data? So I'm going to capture these and you all can discuss. What I'm going to do is just kind of write as you all are discussing, and then I come back in and put what you all say your 2 to 3 needs are. So I'm going to go back a few slides. And it's an open discussion about what do you see in terms of needs, 2 to 3 needs. So I go on mute and let you all discuss.
Okay, so looking at the information that is in front of us, I was wondering if maybe as a whole school, starting earlier next year, if we could get like a Tiger Academy going from the beginning of the school year, so that we'll be able to better tackle the needs of the kids. I understand that every teacher is supposed to have tutoring once a week, but sometimes as educators, we have to understand that not all students learn the same way, or not all teachers teach the same way. So that student who is struggling with math might understand it better from Mr. Stone than he does from somebody else. So maybe we can get like a rotation going among the different departments, especially math and language arts, because those are kind of interchangeable amongst the grades, to get a floating academy going. Do you agree?
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. I would also say that based on needs, with the MAP scores for 6th grade math, 64%, we would probably need to target that 7th grade math, those 7th grade students next year that are in that 64% red area, because those are the ones gonna be taking the test in 7th grade. So we probably need to get to them early on and do a deeper dive into their data to see what, how can we support them and move them move that 64% to 44%, or move that down into developing into the yellow, how we can get more of those students into the yellow. And
but we
hopefully
also need to focus on getting those students in the yellow and the green, because now that we are no longer on the takeover list, we have to move more of those students in the yellow to the green. So I like what you're saying. I agree with it. But we gotta get those yellow students up out of there too.
Mm.
How do you feel about
I have a question.
mhm.
Yeah, so I mean, I agree with both of you guys. I think you wanna improve all the levels, the ones in the red, the ones in the yellow, and the ones in the green. So
Yeah.
of course, personalized learning, finding things that, each where depending on their levels, the intervention that's going to support the needs that they individual student needs. Also what I would like us to implement is incentives, because I'm learning that incentives are really is what's a key motivator in the students' academics. So as far as offering like maybe a pizza party or maybe like school bucks to purchase things, I think it really does help.
And I think too, to bolster the incentive program, maybe we need to be more rigorous with the goal setting at the beginning of the year with students with math and all subjects,
Yeah.
but definitely in these scored subjects, these tested subjects, be more rigorous and not just let the goal setting be from the MAP data, but either they're taking benchmarks or some type of
Maybe the students
unit.
should be able to set goals, just period. Goals for each class that they have, so that they
Yeah.
understand this is a whole school effort and not necessarily a content effort.
Yeah.
Because if you just focus on saying, hey, I need you to do good at math, ELA, social studies, and science, then not saying that they don't value their connection classes, but it will help it just be a better tie-in. So we'll be able to buy in the students and buy in the teachers with both programs. Maybe we can get some monetary incentives for the teachers who decide to do the Tiger Dam program, and then it can be extra stuff for the students, because Mr. Webb has that community connection that he's going to throw in there next year, and I feel like we'll be really good.
And two, I think if we're adamant about tutorials, we're proficient in well, we don't have intervention block next year, do we?
I thought we had one more year. We got one more year.
Okay, all right.
So it's not a school-wide intervention block, it's connection classes. So it won't be, so you all are actually getting more time back on to
In the
your
classroom.
classes and your planning time. However, those students identified based off of the data will be in the intervention class doing connections.
So I think
But they'll
that too
only
would
have to
move
choose
students.
between their A day or their B day. They'll still get a regular connection class in there, right?
For the most part, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think more time in the classroom allows us to cover more content. That should move students as well. But still looking at these different assessments and inventories to pinpoint students that we need to move. Because I mean, we had 213 exams in math and 64% of those are in the red. That's a lot. So yeah. Anybody else?
So I have two things. From the data, I would probably suggest we know that reading is more of a concrete way of thinking, whereas math is more abstract. So from the data, I would probably start our sixth graders with just abstract thinking in general, having them to work with the metacognition of thinking about abstract concepts. What does abstract mean? Just get them to talk about what abstract really is and explain to them what abstract is, something that they just can't see. Reading, it seems to me that they have that concept, so they're moving, they're moving proficiently as they matriculate through their middle school career. The second thing that I would look at is being intentional about, and this is more of an intervention, but being more intentional about the planning time, because you can't increase the time in the day. Teachers they have so much time that they can actually teach, but you can make it more efficient and effective if you teach cross curriculum. So if your science teachers are incorporating the math concept, they get that math twice. So they sort of double stitch that concept so they get more exposure to the content. I think that will cause the numbers to shift in both places in your slippables and your pushables. So students moving from red to yellow, and then students moving, from yellow to green or from green to dark green, wherever it may be. But if they see the content more, they're more exposed to the content, and the teachers are more, they have more time to actually and effectively plan, I think we'll see more of our students move.
And so that's a good point, because with us being a STEAM school, going for our STEAM certification, the interdisciplinary component is very important. So maybe building in some planning where they are talking amongst different subject matters, content areas, will actually be able to build that component out and being intentional about it. I don't know if we alternate days or we make it like twice a month or something like that, but you can put in those different components because I think math is better with application. You know what you're using it for and how you're using it. So I think that's a great point.
Yeah, I would agree with
I like those that word pushables and slippables.
yes.
Just to piggyback on that,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Paul, Webb, and Murphy, a little story about an 8th grade student who in the first semester this year couldn't care less about doing working connections, just didn't care. And okay, what can I do? And then all of a sudden I talked to his dad. That had a little effect. Then he came and he said one day, does my grade in connections affect my GPA? And actually I wasn't sure, but I lied and I said yes. And so from that day on, he came to tutorials, he did this, he did that, he did the other, he brought his grade up. And now he's coming in there with 2 of the silliest knuckleheads in 8th grade in my second semester, coming in there to sit with them to try to help them to get their work done so that they can bring their GPA up. And I think that having them do that computation, they're understanding what their GPA is and how connections does factor in, whether it does or not, can be motivating. And that boy, Miss Boston, if you know him, I know you'll be surprised, or Mayor Murphy, all of you, is Quantavia Weldon.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. Quick question, Ms. Hill. Are we supposed to be filling in that other slide as we going through the discussion?
I was capturing a note so I can go back and type it.
Okay.
Because it's not on the Google thing. I got it.
Just want to
right.
make sure we hit our lesson target of our target of.
Yeah, I got all the stuff. Plus it's recorded, so I have
Okay.
every.
And just to piggyback off Mr. Webb, the popular planning, I think that's definitely going to be key, and being intentional in changing the numbers, especially with cross curriculum teams. Like I know we kind of meet with our content, but I think more so meeting with the other content areas, like math, meet with science, or really everyone meet with each other as far as different contents in each grade level. We could be able to plan and compare each standards to each other, because a lot of them do coincide together. Like I know independent variable, that's kind of a key concept that's within 8th grade content, is knowing what an independent variable is, knowing what dependent variable is, X and Y. So if science talks about that more, we talk about it more. And I know even in social studies, they talk about, cause and effect, that's independent and dependent. And it kind of just teaches it that way. You were able to get more application from the student. They can understand, okay, why are we learning this? Because students have asked me, they're like one of my students today, like the other day, like we were doing scatter plots, and he was asking me, he was like, well, why are we learning this, whatever? So I had to explain to him, I use the vocabulary platform, and it talks about, buying hats from a store or whatever. And, and you kind of analyzing the data, like, based off the temperature, like, how many hats will you sell based off the temperature? And he was like, oh, wow, now I see why scatter plots is important. So really making them understand, like, okay, how does it apply to them? Like, why does it is important? And how can it be, reciprocated throughout all the curriculum? I think will be very important.
And
That's
just to
that's a great point. The year that we saw a huge increase in our scores, a couple of you all were with me. That was the year, believe it or not, that at least once a week we were in the little data room upstairs, and then you had everyone from all content areas in there. Because I'm even thinking about like the whole thing with science and math, tag teaming and co-creating. And it hit me like the science teachers really know what the upcoming skills are prerequisites in terms of math students are working with, and how can they incorporate it? I think a lot of times, because we are planning separately, we're focused on our lane rather than, as Hobson said, intertwining to see how standards, believe it or not, certain concrete concepts go across different content areas. So the year that we actually saw our highest gain, we were at least together in that data room once a week. Now, a lot of times we were looking at data or the weekly data protocols and identifying gaps and reteach, but at least you're in a room together for the discussion. How are you with me? Why
We
you
was in that
laughing?
room 4 days out the week. That room was so small.
thought-
If it's not gonna be in the media center, we need
Yeah,
space.
yeah, it doesn't have to be in the room. It could be in the media center,
Oh,
just
okay.
for that
Whew.
discussion to happen. But I just had a flashback when we used to be in that room.
Listen,
And we had the anchor chart standards and stuff posted all around the room, so we could kind of see what each other were doing.
yeah, you have to get a buy-in. Like, you have to. I feel like during that time, every teacher wanted the students to grow. They understood that the same way we want our kids to understand. We understood that this is what we needed to do. So I feel like you have to set that foundation from the beginning. And I'm sure our new principal will do a great job with doing that.
She's on there now. She's listening and taking it all in. Let me.
She's over there taking notes because she's a great leader and a follower.
I'll also say that I know oftentimes we put math and science together, and we put language arts and social studies. Yeah, but as a former science teacher, I'll say this: you cannot be successful in science and struggle reading, because vocabulary is key. And so with that, you can partner your science with your language arts. You partner your science with your math. You can even partner your science with your history classes. But I mean, in all of them, math can do the same thing. It's like Ms. Hall said, you have to be intentional. Everybody has to have that vision. Like, we have to have a common goal, common vision. And when you do that, I think it also brings the students together, and it allows them to be more successful too, because I may struggle in math, but if that math concept is embedded in my science and I'm successful in science, now I believe that I can be successful in math because I've seen myself be successful in science. So it's almost like a psychological thing, a barrier that you have to break with young adolescents as well. But this gives them the opportunity to be successful, multiple times, and it's just one concept. Because once they get it, then they got it, and they feel good about themselves, and they're willing to take risk, and they know that classroom is a safe place for them.
So, and just to connect that, as we revamp the PBL process, we've been doing it in silos, but in the process based on the state, different concepts, those concepts should be shared across. When we do a PBL, those concepts should be taught in each class to formulate or to complete that PBL. We've been kind of just doing a PBL, everybody does their piece in their classroom, but as you go throughout a unit, those PBL units that we create as content areas together, they touch on those many different things. So students are able to touch on, if it's just graphing, on each subject matter. If it's multiplication, they're touching on it in each content area. And so that's where we have to get to, but it is a retooling of the mind and how we plan and being intentional about it. And also another thing too, in my son's school, when you go into their data room, it's red, green, yellow, and it has every student. The walls are lined with data about each student. And what they do is, a lot of times we just formulate our plans off of map testing. They have other tests that they take to get more data on those students, so you can be more intentional, be more accurate about the reteach and how you're going to personalize the learning of those students. So I think finding more, gathering more student data in science, social studies, math, and in different areas also help us be more accurate in our day-to-day planning as well, instead of just maybe relying on a couple pieces of data or the map. We need some other in it because they use map at my son's school, but they also use STAR and something else to actually get more information. Because the more data you have, I think as teachers are more successful, we can plan for our students.
Right. Even when you say when you're talking to students, because I believe that accountable conversation is like the key. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
the conversation that you have with students about their performance and not necessarily their grades.
Mhm.
I think you start talking about grades, you start using that T word, that test word, you start to build anxiety. But when you explain to them and you have that conversation with them about assessments and what assessments are used for and why we gather data and how they gather data and make assessments all day, every day. It's something that people naturally do so that they can, they can make decisions, more sound decisions. And so they see that they do it. This is just a scholastic way in which we do it in the classroom. We gather information, we look at what the data that we have, we look at our strong points, we look at areas where we need to grow. And so they begin to see that. Again, my thing is always creating an academic environment where students feel safe to take those risks. I used to always tell my students, you can mess up as much as you want to in the classroom. This is like practice. Where I don't want you to mess up is on that assessment. And so that way you can give your best performance. The last thing I want to say, I don't know if you all have this, Ms. Hall, do y'all have this? This
No,
book?
we do not.
I personally have it, but
Oh,
that's a great book. Mhm.
Yeah, I was about to say, this
It's a
book
great
will
book.
help you a lot with when you start talking about PBLs and how to actually, use them and work them. Now I haven't read this whole book, but the information that I did read out of it is key. It is like golden. And it doesn't have to be textbook. You make it your own, but the ideas are in here. And it does sort of reshape how you see PBLs. I'm done.
Okay, we'll be looking forward to that donation of those books to our library. Thank you so much, Mr. Webb.
Yeah, I thought
Miss
he
Hill,
was
is there
plugging his
anything-
own book.
We may
Right.
be able to make that happen before.
Is there anything else we need to add on? Can you go back to the question page to make sure that
Sure.
we did it all?
I think we probably hit everything with this
I
dialogue.
think we did too.
I think we hit all the bullets.
Everything.
Oh, let me go
Okay.
back. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
We talked
Okay,
about
yeah, we
growth
hear
in
all of
math.
that.
Yeah, we good. We good.
Okay, let's keep it moving.
All right,
Miss
let's
Hill.
roll. Okay, information items. So the first one is the principal's report. So the first item on the principal's report is just an update about family engagement. Let me move this little thing over to the side. Family engagement and or partnership highlights. So a couple of things that I want to highlight is we have definitely increased our family engagement and partnerships this year. So a huge kudos to Ms. Mayfield, who is our school business manager, who was tag teaming, working with partnerships as well as family engagement. So a couple of things, every single month we have monthly food pantries. Even the staff, we love them.
Yes.
We had more STEM, academic, and fine arts family nights. We also were able to purchase and hire a full-time parent liaison, Ms. Head. And then we, through our very own Mr. Webb, and Ms. McCoo went over and had a wonderful meeting with Ms. Shockley and the team, establishing a true partnership with Caring for Others. Last but not least, Southern Power Company, through our partnerships department with Atlanta Public Schools, they actually provided lunch one of the days for teacher appreciation. So we took care of one day. So this year we were really able to do it big thanks to the partnership with Southern Power Company. All right. The
Miss
next
Hill.
part,
So also the Bad Boys Academy.
so the Bad Boys Conference. So that partnership came from the same people who do the PASS program. Thank you, Mr. Hobson. You want to share about the Bad Boys?
Yes. So we partnered. We got about maybe 12 or 13 young men that represented different professions and different businesses. They came to the school for about 4 hours, and they had classes. Like one was boxing, the other one had like counseling. It was different activities in each of the rooms, and actually one of the state Georgia State representatives came, Philip Oyele. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but he's a Georgia State representative, one of our newly elected Georgia State representatives. I met him a while back, and I invited him to come. I think he actually is in the district that Long is in, and he definitely enjoyed himself talking to the students, and they definitely engaged with him. And a lot of the young men are definitely wants to continue, and as well as the entrepreneurs, they definitely want to come back to the school. So it was definitely a great event. So kudos to Dr. Jones.
Yes, kudos. And I also thank you for lifting that, Mr. Hobson. I also have to shout out the Girls Summit that it was a partnership between Long Middle School and John Lewis and Victor's Academy, and our school social workers. They tag team, they developed this idea, and it's going to be an annual girls kind of like retreat and summit. It focused on mental health. It was held at CLL. The superintendent came down to speak to the young ladies. They had guest speakers, both face-to-face as well as virtual, as well as the parents. A lot of the parents actually came as well. The mothers came. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. Lots of joy, lots of tears, a lot of collaboration. So huge tiger roar for that as well. And I'll update the slide before we post it to add those items as well. All right, so now Go Team elections. So I was just going on to see the actual count. So the Go Team elections were the votes actually happened April the 18th through the 27th. What happened, they pushed out links to households, instructional staff can only vote for instructional staff. Households can only, like parents can only, and guardians can only vote for parents and guardians. So the official results, and I am pretty sure that the Go Team has contacted the individuals. Our parent guardian seat, Ms. Chandra Randall won that seat. And then we had both Mr. Murphy and Mr. Hobson. They were both on the ballot. However, I also have to share this news. Mr. Hobson will be leaving the Tiger family and leaving the Go Team, going to Cobb County for his next career, future endeavor. So we want to say thank you, Mr. Hobson, for your time that you have shared with Crawford Long Middle School as well as the entire Go Team. So thank you. So what that means is that Mr. Murphy, he now has won the official instructional staff seat. I do not see the votes, so I don't know who really won.
Yeah, I tallied the
Hobson,
votes myself. It was 1,120 votes to
Mr. Murphy, you only run by default, so.
Exactly. Okay, exactly.
and believe it or not, I really don't know. So well wishes to Mr. Hobson.
Last year, when me and Ms. Hall was running against each other,
Yeah.
I went and asked them for the tallies, and they end up emailing to me. So you probably have to ask them for the tallies of how many people.
Real Trump.
You were really that petty and went to go ask for some
It was a Trump
after
moment.
you
It was a
got
Trump
beat
moment
out.
right
Oh
there.
yes. I work elections.
That was
we
the
need
Dominion
numbers.
issue right there.
We need numbers. I need numbers.
That's like a Trump move. I don't like that.
Yeah. Dr.
Oh, no, we
Renaissance
need
when he got
numbers.
Giuliani for that one, boy.
We need some Dominion counts, the Dominion votes.
It's smart machines too.
All right, so the next piece of information, we're now at announcements. There are a few announcements. At this time, I'm gonna go forward and then come backwards. So the first thing, I'm sure you all have gotten the emails from the Go Team department with all of the reminders. So it says, please make sure you check your emails. There are two surveys. There's a Go Team satisfaction survey and there's a principal feedback survey. When you do the principal feedback survey, that information informs different decisions. They like to capture feedback on the principal. That is part of the charter system protocol. So the Go Team does provide feedback for the principal. So next year you all will be doing the principal feedback, and they do use them doing evaluations as well. And also, if you have not completed any required trainings, please make sure you complete whatever required trainings you have not completed. And we're gonna go backwards because now I have the pleasure of introducing our new Crawford W. Long principal. She started as a teacher, mathematics teacher at Long Middle School, then moved to instructional coach for mathematics, and then became assistant principal. So it is an honor. I smile. Let me first say thank you to the Go team for facilitating the process and the selection of our outstanding incoming principal, Mrs. Carla McCall. No, let me say this right. Mrs. Carla Elizabeth McCall McCoo. Congratulations. And at this time, I'm going to step aside and turn over the floor to Mrs. McCoo.
Well, good evening, everyone. First, I would like to say just thank you. It is not only an honor, but it's a privilege to be named as principal of Crawford W. Long Middle School. This right here is something that I feel like any teacher, regardless of your long-term aspirations, you should focus on the things that you would want if you were a leader of this building. So I always say that this was an 18-year journey. Since 2005, when I came in as a teacher at Coyne Middle School, I always thought about what would I do if I was in the seat of a leader. So now this is my time to show what I will do and how I will support the school to ensure that we get to that next level. I listened to some of the things that you said, and it was interesting to hear you say some of those things that Long needed in order to take us to that next level. And I totally agree. From the individualized learning plan for the students to not only have that quantitative, but qualitative data, to have those conversations, because that allows students to know, what am I working towards? What is my goal? How do I reach that goal? And it is our duty to not only support the students, but also the teachers, but not only the teachers, but also the parents, because the parents are an intricate part of making sure that the students are there each day. I truly believe that as the principal instructional leader of CW Long Middle School, I will take every experience, both good and bad, that I have had over my 18 years, and I will make sure I enhance and develop teachers, because I also believe that we should also invest in you, because it's very important to make sure teachers have not only that understanding of the content knowledge, but we understand them as individuals. Because just like we need to differentiate for students, I believe it's needed for teachers also. So also make sure those individualized learning plans are there for the teachers to provide them that support or that tiered support. I think it was also said about incentives. It's important to incentivize, yes, for the students, but what about the teachers? Because sometimes it's hard for you all to come in the building every day. So working with partners such as Caring for Others, with Mr. Webb and Mrs. Shockley, I'm going to make sure you all receive those incentives that are needed to just say thank you. Thank you for taking some of the things that you may not have to take each day. But again, at the same time, the parents, because you have some parents that give their all each day, but at the same time, you have those parents who want to give their all, but they just don't know how. So making sure you provide them with those supports. So with those wraparound services, with parent universities, teaching parents not only how to provide resources to allow them to provide for their students, but at the same time, how to provide for themselves. So showing them what it takes to not only be a successful individual in your household, but also to support and make that connection with the school. So just overall, I'm excited, but at the same time, just know this is not a title. This is not a position. As you can hear, I have a daughter myself who will also attend Atlanta Public Schools. So the same opportunities that I want for her, I want to make sure each student at Crawford Long has those opportunities. So as the principal instructional leader of Long Middle School, I want you all to know that I'm here, I'm hearing, I'm compassionate, I'm caring, and I am there to provide whatever supports are needed. As you can see, as working as a parent, this is not an easy job, but I know, Bigger. Hold on one moment, be quiet. Sometimes that look works even at the house. But thank you, and I'm excited, and I'm ready to work for you all. And please, please, please just know we're going to work together to make sure Long Middle School is a great school for all students. Thank you, Go Team, And thank you, Ms. Hill, for your 12 years of leadership, but at the same time for that support given over the years. Thank you, each and every one of you.
What did you do to Carla?
Just like the classroom, that's part of the rituals and routine. You have to give them that look sometime. When I'm being
She knew,
observed,
she
if I
knew
look
mama
at you-
was, she knew mama was talking. So she knew exactly,
Want
just
that
like the
attention.
students. So thank you for those words. And when I tell y'all, I'm so excited. Like, I am so excited about the future of Crawford Law Middle School. All the things that we want to do, you wish you could do. I am excited about the direction you all are going in.
And Ms. Hill, I'm sorry, Ms. Hill, go team. I'm coming off mute for a second. And can we edit this out, this portion? But
It's
this,
live.
okay, that's fine.
Okay,
But I'm just
it's
want to
fine.
be very transparent, especially as a person who's been an educator longer than I've been a teacher, longer than I've been a leader. It's gonna take work.
It is.
It's gonna be days that we may have the hardest days and feel like we may not be able to do it. But at the same time, our goal is to make sure the scholars that we serve get to the point that they not only want, but they deserve. Because we're truly in a community that the school is one thing that has kept that community going over the years. So I understand, because I was that teacher. I was a teacher who, by the 10th year of teaching, I had 6 principals at one school. So I had to adapt. I had to change. I had to learn different leadership styles. I had to understand, this is what I will do. This is what I will not do. But through it all, and this is what I also understood, you have to listen. Just like our mayor, Andre Dickens, says, I'm smart enough to listen, but I'm strong enough to lead. So with that, teachers, just know, I am what it looks like after being motivated, after being supported, after sometimes going home saying, this is not what I want to do, or this principal may not know what they're doing, or she doesn't know, or why did she do this, or why I am what that can become. So again, please just know I'm here for you, but at the same time, I need you to be here for me.
And
Thank you, thank you.
And I am going to ask, Go Team, I know some of you all will be at different places next year, but I'm asking, just like you all have been thought partners with me and for me, please continue to support Carla. I'm calling her Carla because I need you all to continue to support. It's a lot that you all don't see behind the scenes of the principalship title. And I'm gonna be honest, it's harder now than ever. When I started 12 years ago, just for instance, this week alone, and it is just Tuesday or Wednesday, we have had 4 DFACS referrals this week of abuse that we discovered at the school. 4, and it is Wednesday. And for all of those students, their safe place where they felt comfortable was Long Middle School and trusting you all. That's a heavy load to carry when you're trying to make sure children are safe, but also that teachers are teaching and students are learning. There are a whole lot of politics behind that principal seat that often tie your hands and why you can't. I am publicly asking that you continue to support Carla McCall-McCoo. She's passionate about it. She's not in it for the job, the title, anything. She's in it with the passion. And the other thing I need you all to be mindful about is that many of us on here, we've been in education for a while, and we got a lot of new people coming into the field, and we expect them to just walk in and be just be magical teachers. I need y'all to understand, number one, most of them have not been through a teacher education program. As a matter of fact, a lot of teacher ed programs are now closing because no one wants to go into education. I don't even know if you have heard, but it may get to a point where now, if you're in college enrolled, you can be a full-time teacher and you don't have to have a degree. People are not going into education. All of you all on here right now, you're going to have to help our up and coming new teachers as well as new leaders. it is a state of emergency for public education in the United States of America right now. So I'm at peace, I'm pleased, I'm happy, I'm over, and just know I'm only a phone call away, whatever you all need. But please continue to support and continue to be passionate, and you continue to grow as an individual, as a leader, as an educator. Maku, you want to introduce the assistant principal? Or you want to share?
Yes, unfortunately, Dr. Moore was unable to be on the call tonight. Her child is actually graduating tonight from college, so she was unable to be on the call, but she did send a video. I want to be open and transparent with the GO team. As far as the individual who was selected for the assistant principal position, I was looking for someone, and when I say I, anytime I say I, we, I'm talking about everyone as a whole and based off the needs of the school, who was very instructionally sound. Someone who knew Atlanta Public Schools, but at the same time, someone who had served in diverse roles so they could support the needs of the school also. Someone who's able to give you feedback, but at the same time, because I also feel like adults have to be nurture you while giving you that feedback. So we had some wonderful candidates, but the final decision was very difficult. The panel, we had long discussions, and we finally came down to a few candidates. And so this was the final decision of our next assistant principal at Long Middle School. Again, she has various skills. A lot of those include MTSS, testing. Also, being a social studies teacher, is very knowledgeable in the content, but at this time, I'm going to allow you to see Dr. Moore's introductory video. Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Can you make it full screen?
Take it off mute.
I'm mashing the button to take it off mute, and it said on mine.
Oh, make sure you hit the audio when you share it.
You also have to you have to automize
Share, yeah,
maximize
to
the
add
audio
audio.
before you
That's
share
all.
it.
Unshare it and then share it again. And click audio and video. All right. You should hear maximize audio and video, 2 buttons you gotta click.
I vote that Hall be one of the top leaders for the goal setting initiative school-wide.
Oh, that sounds.
Oh, I've already started to establish my plan. I have a good
Did you
team
see-
building activity for us to do once we get ready to come back to school. I think
Like
we're
a
gonna all go to
school-wide
Stone
data
Mountain. Yep, we're gonna climb Stone Mountain to understand, that, we have to climb together and we'll be able to come down together and get over stuff. Yeah, I ain't told Miss McCool yet.
You
Is the
walk
new-
up Stone Mountain.
You know
Is-
that
Climb Stone Mountain. If you're going up something,
we're
what are
gonna
you
climb
doing?
together.
Climbing.
Walk. It's a trail.
Were y'all
It's
able to
not.
hear it just now? Or y'all was still climbing?
Is
You
the
gotta
new-
share your, when you share your screen
Audio.
and click that little audio thing. It's a little
The-
box that's audio.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are you muted? Are you muted? I can't hear it. Oh, she's not muted. I can't hear it.
I think she's saying she's delighted to be chosen as the next assistant principal at Crawford Long Middle School. She's gonna do a terrific job. Empowering is pretty much probably what she's saying. So, yeah, and she's definitely excited. Her facial expressions.
She's definitely laughing at you already, Mr. Murphy.
McCoo, can you hear on your end? We can't hear on that end.
I think she muted something.
You all don't hear it?
No.
Are you
Now, it
on
could have been
mute?
how will you play it on yours? Can you hear her, Miss McCoo?
Yes, I'm here. I hear the whole.
Did you see the automation when you share the screen before you share it? Do you see those two
Did anybody
like
else
bubbles?
get the video? Did you get the video, Miss Hill? Miss Hill, did you get the video? Can you share it from your screen?
I don't have it's on my phone. But I don't have it on my computer.
I'm about to share it with you, Murphy. Can I share it with you?
Yes, ma'am. Just email it to me.
Oh, while she's doing that, yesterday, that little thing that we did on Verizon, they had some goal setting resources on there.
Carla.
Yeah, we looked at a couple of them in the small groups that we got into.
I like
know
the
we-
idea of having a class one that and like training the teachers on doing that protocol, like using like a school goal setting protocol.
I feel like we just need to get a generic goal setting form for everybody. For all the students to go through at the beginning of the year. That'll be a good SEL activity for them to embark on. Maybe the first week of school, stretch it out, explain what goals are, let them know like where they want to be, explain GPA and explain all that other stuff. So I feel like it'll take some time because as y'all admin and y'all need to just sit down with the teachers first so the teachers can understand what's expected from everybody from the beginning.
And I think too, if they sent us that planner at the beginning of the year, it had a lot of goal setting things in it that were very
You know when
useful.
those were delivered from the district office?
Like late March. Yeah. So they
I don't
give
know
us
what
a
the
Because they were
plan-
still working on changing the
discipline.
yeah.
So
Because
hopefully they'll
everything's
have
all right,
changing.
I got it.
Okay.
Don't cut us off like that.
Oh, my bad. I just wanted to let you know that, I got it.
You still gotta share it.
Yeah, I said I got it.
Go ahead, Mr. Murphy.
Hey, Carla.
My name is
Can y'all
Dr.
hear?
Sarah Moore, and I am elated and honored to serve as your new assistant principal to the Crawford Long family. I'm a native of Atlanta and also a proud
Y'all can hear
product
it?
of the Atlanta Public School System. I have served the Atlanta Public School System
Move that
for
thing. Okay.
years of my career. I have served in the roles of paraprofessional, teacher, district MTSS specialist, instructional coach, and last but not least, district student support disproportionality specialist. As a new instructional leader to the Crawford Long family, I bring a servant yet transformational leadership that pursues student achievement and teacher effectiveness daily. I'm truly committed to building relationships within our school, community partners, and all stakeholders. I look forward to a wonderful, impactful, and memory-making year with our scholars at Crawford Long Middle School. Again, Go Team, I thank you. Crawford Long, I thank you for this new opportunity and wonderful experience. See you in the new year.
Yay.
Everybody saw it? Everybody good?
Mhm. All right, I'm gonna share the last part of the last slide, just to say. Thank you. Uh-oh.
Yeah, there was a question about what grade level should be placed in.
McCool.
Right now, that will be a conversation that I'm gonna have with the assistant principals. And I will also have some discussions with other individuals. And I'm saying that because whatever needs are best for the school. So I understand that people have preferences. I understand there are needs of individuals, but at the same time, whatever is best for the students. So with that being said, that's not a decision that I'm just going to up and make. But at the same time, I will receive input and collaborate with especially those individuals that will be affected. And after that, I will have that discussion with the school as a whole. So as of now, I cannot give you that decision. And I will inform you all once those individuals who will be affected primarily, as far as the other assistant principals, once we have that discussion.
Right. Any other questions before we close out our final Go Team meeting for the 22-23 school year? Any additional questions?
Can I share something that just arrived while the meeting was going on that I'm very
Sure.
excited about? Because I've never organized a field trip before, and I have organized one now, and it's happening tomorrow. And a week ago, I didn't know how any of this was going to come together. Couldn't sleep at night, and then higher powers came through, and this, that, the other happened easily. And so my t-shirts just were delivered by an Uber driver, and I want to show them to you. Okay, hold on. Oh. I have all sorts of kids coming and asking me if they can join the field trip. And I'm like, no, kids, I'm sorry. We're limited to the ones that have already turned in permission slips, but. Can you
Is
see
it green?
Yes,
There it is.
Come up a little bit
Come up a
closer.
little
Cause
bit.
your
Close,
field-
this in your, come up, you disappearing.
In the
Yeah.
back of the filter.
Yeah, you in the filter.
Let me see if I can
thought
turn
you
off the
had-
filter.
Okay.
Wait, you're
We
gonna
can see you. Hold it up right where you
Hold
at.
up with your face. Put it over your face.
Never mind. It
disappeared.
disappeared.
She
It
keep
disappeared.
she
You'll see it
invisible.
tomorrow.
Okay,
Yay.
it looks
Okay.
nice.
It
They
looks
actually
real
do.
soft. If you
They
have
look
any
really
extra.
nice. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm very excited. So that's what I wanted to share, and sorry to make our meeting go longer, but I was too excited not to share it with you. Hopefully I
Maybe
We
won't
love
be.
to see it, Miss Delnise. I'm so proud of you for getting this trip together like that.
Thank you, and hopefully by tomorrow morning I won't need to be on an intubator.
Oh no, drink you some hot ginger tea with a little honey.
I've
Honey,
got some chicken soup bubbling on the stove right now.
Okay, you need some ginger.
whatever, yeah. Feel better,
Okay.
Miss Delnise.
We hope you feel better. And I'm so excited that it all came together, Ms. Dionese. I was determined, me and Cynthia, we were determined that was gonna go through. So I'm so happy for you. I will share, I have 2 graduations this week, well, in 2 days. I have one at LSU in Baton Rouge and another one on Saturday in Dallas, Texas. So I will be taking my parents around the world these next few days. So I will not be back with you all until Tuesday. So you all enjoy. Miss Dionese, please take pictures and share them in the group meet. I know there's several activities going on, so y'all please share because I want to see the group meet until I'm kicked out the group meet. So
May 26th.
Lisa Hill has left the group me.
no, guess
Oh,
what?
I can't wait to see it. I'm gonna
Guess what?
highlight it.
I'm gonna say,
Lisa
yeah,
Hill has
it's
left the
gonna
group
be
me.
bittersweet. I'm like, what? Yeah, I gotta get used to the silence. It's gonna be bittersweet, but all right. Well, thank you, Go Team. That is all I have. I throw it over to Ms. Hall for the next action item, which is public comment. I don't think anybody from the public is here, and in adjournment.
All right. Does anybody have any announcements? Miss Delnise gave her announcements. Mr. Hobson, do you have anything to say with this being your last official Crawford Long Go Team meeting for the year?
Yes. I just want to thank everyone, the entire faculty and staff and leadership at Crawford Long Middle School for an amazing 5 years with Atlanta Public Schools. I can honestly say that all the jobs I had, I tell you, I had so many jobs. I had so many jobs in my short amount of time, and I can definitely say Atlanta Public Schools is the job I probably spent the most of my tenure with. So it just shows you my love and passion that I definitely do have for you guys. I will definitely miss you guys. And I'm definitely going to still come around, come to basketball games and football games and still support because I still hold you guys dear to my heart. But thank you for the opportunity. And I hope to see y'all again. Keep in touch.
All right. Thank you. Any more announcements? All right. All hearts and minds are clear. We have reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional business at this time? May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I move that we
Motion.
adjourn this meeting.
A second.
Yeah.
Jesse Webb, I second.
All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. Any abstentions, please raise your hand. The final Go Team meeting for Crawford Long Middle School of 2022-2023 is adjourned at 6:49 p.m. on the 17th of May, 2023. Thank you guys so much for giving us this opportunity.
Have a good evening.